What's up, YouTube? The Raven Gamer here, and I'm going to be taking apart a GameCube controller. Now, first thing we have to do is there are 6 tri-wing screws that need to be taken out. You're going to be using a tri-wing screwdriver bit. It's a security bit. You can usually buy them on eBay or Amazon. This one's pretty cheap. I would advise against buying one of these. Yeah, you get them cheap, but after a couple or 3 uses, it's just stripped out and you don't have to buy another one. So if you're going to fork out the cash, buy one that's going to last. So first thing we have to do is we have to get these screws out. Okay, so we've removed all 6 of the tri-wing screws, and now all we need to do is separate the 2 halves of the control pad. Okay, on this half you'll notice that you have the L and R triggers, and these little plastic pieces here correspond to these 2 white trigger or tabs right here, so that when you press down on the L or the R trigger, it'll grab this little white piece, and that's how it registers your command to the circuit board. It looks like these can be removed with very tiny Phillips screwdrivers, but the first thing we're going to do is the Z trigger. Now the wire, there's a little prong right there that the wire loops around. So you're going to remove that, and when you put it back together, you just need to make sure that the wire is back on that loop, or it's not going to close properly. So pull that off the loop, and the whole circuit board will come right out. And right here you have your 2 analog keys, and these buttons come off. Actually, you can go online onto eBay, and there are manufacturers that still make custom and replacement parts. So if these are just wore down or need replaced, you can do that. And customize the controller a little bit. Now, the circuit board, I don't really think needs cleaning. Basically, I just need to clean the plastic and the buttons. So I'm going to set this aside. Now on this half, just like with the Game Boy that I took apart, you have these little covers here which will register your command to the circuit board when you press. Just remove these, and then the buttons will come right out. We'll set those someplace so you do not lose them. So we're going to clean those here in just a bit. The only one you have to really make sure that you don't lose is this tiny little start/select button. That's really tiny, so we don't want to lose that. And as for this half, I'm going to try to find a small enough flathead or Phillips to take that out, take those out. Okay, now when cleaning controllers, it's best to use denatured alcohol, which I don't have, so I'm going to use Windex or window cleaner on the plastic very lightly, just to get, and it does a pretty good job. You just have to make sure that it's completely dry before you put it back together again. So I have these Q-tips to get into the very tiny and tight areas, and I'm going to go ahead and clean right along this rim, which is where a lot of dust and dirt and gunk gets built up. And I'm going to give this a nice cleaning, and then I will meet you guys back here. And we're back, and we finished, we pulled the L and R trigger guards off and cleaned underneath those, and we cleaned the interior and the exterior of this half of the GameCube controller. So this is finished, and we're going to set that out of the way. We're going to clean this side next, and again, we're going to pay attention to this rim here, which is where a lot of the dirt and grime builds up, but also in these button wells. For the most part, the rest of the interior is pretty clean, so we're just going to focus on those areas, then we're going to get the buttons cleaned up and put it back together. So I will meet you guys back here when I'm done with that. Okay, we're back. We're able to give this a really nice detailed cleaning, especially around in the button wells, and we went ahead and cleaned all the buttons. And what's good about cleaning the buttons when you pull the controller apart is that there's a lot of areas, like right down around the very bottoms of the buttons, that dirt and grime will build up just from use that you really can't get to unless you pull the control pad apart. So we got those really clean, and these pads right here along the surface is where a lot of dirt and dust and grime will build up too, and we got those clean. So now we're just going to put it back together. So the first thing we need to do is just put the buttons back together. So we're going to start with the D-pad and put that in. And these buttons will only go in one way, so you don't have to worry about mixing them up. And then A button. And the B button. X and Y. Start select. Z trigger. Now the Z trigger's got these little prongs here. They have to fit into this hole down here, this corresponding well. So you want to make sure you get that in there. And it's not a very tight fit until you put the controller together and it holds it on, so it may fall out a few times. Then replace your little pads. Most of them have little loops or hooks on the padding that will fit onto the prongs for the pads. Okay, now take your circuit board and you're going to attach the two analog sticks by they just snap right onto their prongs. Replace the circuit board. Now, this loop here, you want to make sure that you put it right back onto this prong right here. Otherwise, the controller won't fit together properly. And there you go. Our GameCube controller is good as new, has been detailed and cleaned very well, and all that's left is to plug it in and just test it out and make sure it's still working like it should be, but I don't anticipate any problems. So thank you for watching, and I hope this has been informative and has helped you out. This has been the Raven Gamer.